Shalom, shalom. Again, I want to say shalom, shalom to the hopeful elect, whoever you may be. First and foremost, I want to give all praises to the one true power, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakah, Quadash. For the ones new to the channel, Yahweh is the Most High God, and Yahweh Shai is to the world, and he calls Jesus the Christ. The Rakah, Quadash is the Holy Spirit in the Paleo Hebrew. And double honors to the elders of Great Millstone who were well in the Spirit, teaching this word and believing this word. Lord willing, they can continue to endure and be sincere. And a mighty shalom to the hopeful elect that are scattered four corners of the earth, teaching this word and believing this word. Lord willing, the same spirit that they endure and be sincere. And shalom to the Akwathim that are believers of the faith and this truth. Lord willing, you can continue to pursue your lot, which is being a loving and silent and virtuous wife. And Lord willing, the Most High have mercy on the other brothers and sisters that is not in the faith. Right? This is a transit lesson. You know, just meditating on something at work, but I fully didn't. It was really the picture that you see. I couldn't get this out my head. You know, I've been having it for a few days, and I didn't know how I was going to get in there. But as soon as I get to work, it's like brothers was in my mind, you know. Brothers start bringing out World War III. Brothers start showing news, you know, going into certain things, you know, the World Economic is speaking, the summit, United Kingdoms, with America, with what they saying over there in Iran, Israel, multiple places. And I'm like, wow, how is these brothers going into something that I have that been on my mind? So then, after me hearing two lessons, then I hear another brother going into, you know, America is not about to stand for too long. Then another video come across, right? And the brother was saying he was bringing forth truth information on the old Babylon did not be destroyed by fire. You know, it got overtaken by the Persian Medes, right? And you know, they was hitting beautiful points. So for the moment of them keep saying, you know, America is Rome 2.0, and I started thinking the verse that, you know, that was on my mind, it was really the two chapters, 2nd Esdras 11 and 2nd Esdras the 12th chapter. So with some verses that I had marked in that chapter, and you know, if Rome was the way that they was back then, America is reflected off of them, but even worse. So I'm gonna read this verse in 2nd Esdras the 11th chapter, verse 36 to 46. It's dealing with Rome, you know. But you know, when we get into the other precepts, you're gonna see that America exercised the same acts, the same works as the old beast, which is, you know, ancient Rome, right? So we're gonna get into it. This is 2nd Esdras, the 11th chapter, in verse 36. That's what it reads. It says, "Then I heard a voice which said unto me, Look before thee and consider the things that thou seest. And behold, and lo, as it were a roaring lion chased out of the wood." You know, that lion is the symbol of Yahushai. And it says, "And I saw that he sent out a man's voice unto the eagle and said," right? And the eagle in this verse, multiple verses that indicate Esau, you know, in many different verses and prophecies, they would be carrying that symbol. Especially in ancient Rome, they carried the eagle. And then usually when they conquered, they would leave their stamp. In America, it's on that same symbol, even that the seven heads and the 10 horns. They're connected to this eagle too. Now, verse 38, it says, "Hear thou, I will talk with thee, and the highest shall say unto thee, Art not thou it that remaineth of the 4 beasts?" So you got to do your recalculation on what this is going into. And the hint automatically is Daniel, the 7th chapter. You get those 4. Those are the main thing, or the main major captivities. And we're part of the 4th captivity right now. Yes, they were wounded. They got broken down. But their end is not yet. They had a moment, where the Lord humbled them, but they were going to rise up again, because it was spoken that they would build the desolate places, that the Lord would tear down, and they'll rebuild, right? And this is the last time they're going to rebuild, because they rebuilt in the time of the Greeks, going into the Rome, and then they built just to make this empire, right? So reading that again, verse 40, it says, "And the 4th came and overcame all the beasts that were past." Right, Salaki, verse 39. It says, art not thou it that remainest of the 4 beasts, whom I made to reign in my world? Right? The Lord made them reign. Right? I can get a precept on the side, because I've been bringing this verse out for a minute. Let me see. It is Daniel chapter 2 and verse 21. And all of us have to know everything is set up by Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. That's why it's really no free will. Never was. This is Daniel chapter 2 verse 21. And it's just a strong delusion that the Lord might give, these enemies, or just any, especially Jake, anybody that think that they got free will. But Daniel chapter 2 verse 21, "He changeth the times and the seasons. He removeth kings and set up kings." That's the whole point. "He giveth wisdom unto the wise, and knowledge to them that know understanding." Right? So really, to get in these scriptures, the Lord is giving us wisdom. He is giving us knowledge, so that when we do read these scriptures, when we are watching a brother teach, if we stuck somewhere, if we didn't hear something, if we don't know, where the Lord will guide you through somebody to give you the understanding. And that Rakak Wadash is going to, especially you taking notes, you listening, is going to draw you back to rereading what was brought out by the precepts you wrote down, or, back in the old days, you would be reading it too, just to see it and get it. But we all are calling on Yahweh Hashem Yahushai to help us grow in his wisdom and his knowledge. But now that we grow in the knowledge, which I believe I did, and the brothers I'm with, and the brothers that the Lord used to pave the way in this thing, we know that the Lord set up kings and removed kings. So we are reading 2nd Ezra chapter 11 and verse 9. "Art not thou it that remainest of the 4 beasts, whom I made to reign in my world, that the end of their times might come through them?" Right? So the end of that time is going to come through who? Right? It's going to come through this nation, which is the nation of, Idumea, the Edomites. Right? Let me get a side precept if I can. We're going to come back to 2nd Ezra 11 and read verse 4. But he said, that last part, the end of their times might come through them. Now, this is not talking about all the other nations, because who is ruling in this time that this prophecy is spoken of? The Lord has given him an in-depth understanding of Rome, of the 4th beast. So it's who is ruling Rome? Edomites. You can get in the book of the Babylon Timbuktu, they'll show you that Rome was Edomites. We can go into Caesar Augustus or Herod, right? They were Idumeans. Antiochus Epiphanes are Idumean, right? So let me just get this verse, which actually sums that up. 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and verse 9, it says, "For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth." So in order for the 12 tribes to get this kingdom, Esau has to be the end of the world. And literally, he's the last ruler. Because if he's the end of the world, that would mean he's in power. If he's not the one that's the top dog in power, why is it not saying the other nations? The Lord knows everybody. The Lord had given us a chance to clear these things up for you to have sense. Esau is nobody else. Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai know who all of us is. He know the number of your hair on your head. So Esau is still on the earth, even if he's mixed in the other nations, right? So going back to 2nd Ezra, the 11th chapter, and reading verse 40, it says, "And the fourth came and overcame all the beasts that were past, and had power over the world with great fearfulness, and over the whole compass of the earth with much wicked oppression, and so long time dwelt he upon the earth with deceit." And even in that time, a wise man hate oppression, especially the men of the Lord that understood. You have Pharisees, oh, we're not in captivity. The true children that was walking in this knew that they were in captivity. It might have looked it different. Israelites that are Sorterians, right? In armies and so on and so on. Because even through the Greek, some of us consented to some of these heathen ways, right? And even if some of us was in some of those positions, you had some that actually still had faith. So when you look at this side, it's people that's cops, people that's working for the government, and they might know who they is. You got Kanye West, he might know who he is, but he's still lost in the left sauce. And Kyrie, and those are some that's in a higher ranking when it comes to society. Not the truth, but a higher ranking in society. And there was people back in those days too, right? So oppression make a wise man mad. So this is going to follow through with these people. Whenever they rule, is going to come with the same thing, right? And so long time dwelt he upon the earth with deceit. 41. And we got the Nahum 3:1, Habakkuk 2:12, right? You can go get those precepts, read it. Even though they brought out all the time, it says, "For the earth has thou not judged with truth," right? And they'll say that they're the people of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai. If you was of the people of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai, they would never allow the LGB community to be in this. But you're not the people. You're not. Even more, if they was the people, when we go into Deuteronomy chapter 17 verse 15, don't set anybody don't set a heathen over you to be a king. Now, even though the elites is way past a president, if they was in a type of angle, they wouldn't even let a heathen rule over their people, right? Because it is some little small hats that's over here, gotta make sense. But we already know they let people get in what position that they want, because literally they're in power. Second, if they was the people, they would be living a lowly life. They wouldn't be in power until Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai would come. So that's another given that they can't be the people, because the children of Israel is going to be oppressed. And if they're sitting in a high seat and they're bringing forth deceit, they're not oppressed. Verse 42, "For thou hast afflicted the meek, the humble. Thou hast hurt the peaceable. Thou hast loved liars and destroyed the dwelling of them that brought forth fruit." Right? They love liars where, look, they look at every angle. when it comes to these medical facilities, when it comes to churches and religions. All these religions is pushed. But what's the main one that get put into a mockery? Yes, it's Christianity, right? But you got to look past that. It's the Bible. You know, Christianity is already a flukes, but it's really the Bible, right? Well, why isn't the church speaking on they changed the images of the judges and then putting other people and not doing a deep search and knowing like where people background come from, because they would be teaching the harsh stuff and then people would get offended, because this truth is not going to have everybody love it. People are going to get offended off of this truth. And anybody that get offended is not a child of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. You know, this is your history. You know, and then outside all these other nations that's ruling over you, you're spiritually upset because you get to see how you fail. Verse 44, it says, the highest also have looked upon the proud times, and behold, they are ended, and his abominations are fulfilled. This is Rome, because eventually, in the time after when Yahushua was on the earth, he was prophesying of, the destruction of Jerusalem. But of course, he was using parables. The one was like, he said, not one stone will be still, right? Because every stone was going to be removed in the time of 70 AD when they destroyed the temple and went through and destroyed Jerusalem, because that was the start of them, being dispersed, and then the 12 tribes start getting a little ruling seat, still growing in pride, lazy for Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, and the Lord raised them up again, because even outside, if Jake was ruling in these times, because it was supposed to help for these scriptures and certain things to be spoken of, but it was all going to later on usher in Esau fulfilling the verses of rebuilding the desolate places, right? So verse 45, it says, and therefore appear no more thou eagle, nor thy horrible wings, nor thy wicked feathers, nor thy malicious heads, nor thy hurtful claws, nor all thy vain body, right? This is really just talking about going into Rome, right? But that eagle represents Rome. It represents them Edomites in that time. And of course, when they came back, they did the same thing, and they used that same tactics, right? Living by the sword, right? And that eagle was always with them. But they came with that same philosophy, which goes into their image. Back then, when they re-came again with the rebirth, it was that the fake Yahushai, right? Caesar Borgia, And we're going to get into that too, right? Because this helps us identify them back then, because they was coming up with their own ideology, their own beliefs in the time of Rome. Yes, they were saying Christian. They was doing a lot in Rome, right? And they didn't want us to preach our word. Look what happened to Paul. But they started to learn and reading certain scrolls, and they started to do what they had to do, and they try to flip certain things for their behalf. Then they try to convert to our ways, but it was all for deception and deceit. Right? Verse 46, that all the earth may be refreshed and may return, being delivered from thy violence, and that she may hope for the judgment and mercy of him that made her, right? And the earth grew in peace, right? But it was nations growing, but Israelites was growing into a position of power. But it's just the same thing that happened in Black Wall Street. Every time when we get a little up, we start fading away from Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, right? So just getting something about the eagle, Obadiah 1:4. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Right? He exalt thyself as an eagle. Did the same thing in Rome. But then it's other things where it says his nest above the stars. When you go into that, when you think of Nimrod tried to be as high as God. He tried to, right? But now Esau with technology went past what Nimrod did, right? Flying airplanes and making a space station. That's his nest, right? Let me see. Let's look at Lamentations 4 and 19. Verse 20 is good too, but let's stay on the point. It says, our persecutors are swifter than eagles of the heaven. They pursued us upon the mountains. They lay wait for us in the wilderness, right? And those mountains is the African mountains. Because first we was talking about Rome, and then Rome fell. What we read in the last verses in 2nd Esdras 11, right? But we didn't go too deep into it, but you can see it was no more violent because Rome started to Plymouth, right? And in this time, when you even see Rome, even when Rome was falling, I mean, when they destroyed Israel, a flood, when you go to Revelations 12, tried to pursue us. You know, they pursued us upon the mountains. They laid wait for us in the wilderness. They was looking for us in the mountains, right? Because as soon as we fled from Rome, they start pursuing us. Revelations 12, it tells you about a flood, right? But we escaped. And it's just, they came, couldn't really get us. A lot of us fled. They couldn't get us. And then when you later on talk about it, when America get established and grow, that spirit was on them. And what did? They came to the same location where we went to, and they came and got us from those mountains, the African mountains, right? This is Deuteronomy 28:49. And the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand, right? And they came from afar, right? Where they really came from is Europe, you know, and Europe wasn't mad people literally over there, right? But it was a start for people to be over there, right? Because of course Satan go to and fro seeking where he may devour. But when Rome was established, they was around a good area. So when they started to flee and go into the mountains, they went into certain places that's in Europe, the Caucasus Mountain, all those places like near Europe, right? And they came from afar, went all the way through the Africa. They was looking for us. All of this is spiritual, right? And it was really Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai putting it on them, driving them to look for us, right? Because sometimes they could think that it was their own selves, right? And we already read Obadiah and so on and so on. I'm going to read these two last verses. 2nd Esdras 11 and 45, what we already read. It says, and therefore appear no more thou eagle, nor thy horrible wings, nor thy wicked feathers, nor thy malicious heads, nor thy hurtful claws, nor all thy vain body. Right? This is Rome. This is Rome, right? And when you go to 2nd Esdras 12 and 11, it says, the eagle whom thou sawest, this is 2nd Esdras 12 and 11, the eagle whom thou sawest come up from the sea is the kingdom which was seen in the vision of thy brother Daniel, right? And when we talk about the sea, that I just got to go to it, but later on we're going to bring this out again, right? But I'll just do it just because he just said that the eagle that you've seen is the eagle that came out the sea, right? And look at that. This lines up with Revelations, the 13th chapter. Verse 1. It says, and I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads, 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. This is the same. This is Rome. Rome was already forming the EU and NATO, the European Union, right? They was already establishing it, because even when you go into like when Rome fell, when they did the Renaissance, the rebirth, they try to line that all up. You can go see the series of the Siege of Beaujolais. I didn't really finish it, but in the Siege of Beaujolais, they're making alliances with Britain and this and Switzerland, so on and so on. You know, this took time. The Lord is a mastermind, and he's playing chess. You know? So we just seen what he said in Second Esdras, the 12th chapter, and that lined up what we just read in Revelations, the 13th chapter, right? So that was beautiful. Now let's go to Malachi chapter 1, verse 3 and 4. And I hated Esau and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Now this is Esau, his establishment when he was ruling. The Lord tore it down because he was building. That's all he was doing. For him to conquer and get places and make it his establishment, he was conquering places he was building. And this dragon in this verse is not talking about a literal dragon, and it's not talking about Esau. It's talking about like the serpents, like lizards, Komodo dragons, alligators, anything that reflects on a serpent, right? Those were the ones that was eating any dead remains over there, right? Verse 4, it says, whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Shai of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and a people against whom the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Shai have indignation forever. Right, so this is forever. So they already did it once, and the Lord made them fall, right? And guess what? With this one is going to be worse. They got the three amigos, the Greeks, the Greek captivity, the Rome captivity, and then this America captivity with an alliance of the NATO and EU, right? So I'm going to just give you, should I give you an example? Let me see. Okay, now let's go back to Revelations, the 13th chapter. And let's read verse 1 to 3. It says, and I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat in great authority. Now this dragon is the same as what it mean in Malachi. This dragon is reflecting on the beast, right? The dragon gave him his power, right? And that dragon goes with Revelations, the 12th chapter, which is an Edomite, because in the first few verses it's going into Rome again, but it's going into Herod, right? Because Herod, he did the same thing as Moses. He was afflicting the southern kingdom at that time, right? The northern kingdom was around too, but he was hearing of a messenger, really the Messiah Hamashiach. So he was killing boys, but it was really because of those 3 wise men didn't come back and tell him. So he got upset, and he went on a spree of killing the boys. He killed mad boys. Just the same thing that spirit that was on Pharaoh when he was killing all the boys, because we was multiplying, right? But it's all Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, right? So the dragon gave him his power and his seat in great authority. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. So it's like a double whammy. So in the beginning, yes, he's talking about Rome. And guess what? The 3rd verse, he's talking about Rome, but now it's like he's talking about the end of that Rome, of that beast. But then it heals. So just to give you the explanation, it's Rome that got wounded, because we read in Malachi that they will build and the Lord will tear down. Rome fell. All of them, they fell, and they scattered into the damn caves, into the Caucasus Mountains. Afraid. They became weak. They became dirty, right? And his deadly wound was healed, right? And all the world wonder after the beast. So he healed. And now he's going to and fro. Now he's trying to conquer. Now he's getting his mind back. He's touching the sword again, right? And then it goes into that Renaissance, because it's the rebirth. That's what Renaissance is, the rebirth. And it started by, which we would call the crime family of the Borgia family. And they established it with that religion mindset. They was doing a lot of deceit. Money was involved. It was a lot going on. That's why in this same mindset, these elites on this side is still on that mindset of money and deception and killing and murder. But they want it in all angles, right? So the beast was wounded. Now let's go drop down to 11 and verse 14. So this Revelation 13, verse 11 to 14, it says, I beheld another beast came out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon, not a literal dragon. This is John the Revelator's vision. And this dragon, he spoke like an Edomite, right? He had the mindset of an Edomite. His movements was as an Edomite, and we're going to see. And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him. So if the first beast is Rome, and we seen how it was talking about the feathers, the 12 feathers is the Caesars. So who is exercising the same thing as the other beasts? An Edomite. An Edomite is copying his own brother or his own people, right? And it says, and causeth the earth and them which dwelt therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. That was Rome, right? And so now Rome was established under that Vatican. And you seen where I said that when they started to grow back in their power, they started attacking with that religion. Because even when Rome fell, the number 2 religions that was on the earth that was growing was Christianity and that Islamic bullcrap, right? And so the Pope started using those that Christian stuff, but still that deceit, right? And there it goes. Now we're worshiping this beast through his ideology, which is really, when we sum up their little heads, like when we sum up the Vatican, London, and America, the Vatican is the religion part of the power, America is the military part of the power, and London is the finance part. But you got different places in London. It's Europe, So again, it says which dwell therein to worship the first beast. So we're worshiping the ideology of the first beast. Rome had that Pope movement, but guess what? It got stronger after they got wounded and then they healed. Because then you can see, hold on, let me get this picture and let me read what it says. It's good that I'm glad I keep these pictures. So when we look at Rome, you look at Rome, paganism, Talmudism, 300 to 500, I think, AD, monotheism, the Vatican, that was in like 325, Judaism, the synagogue of Satan, where in 7040 to 920 they was trying to become converted. The Templars, they did that government stuff. Islam 632, and they all had hands in it. The Crusades, 1096 to 1204, Kabbalah 1235, and the Templars, like 1119, the inventors of banking, right? And you got to know, in Rome they were taxing, right? So you got to know that they was trying to upgrade and come with a better scheme, but it was all Yahweh Shem Al Shai. The land of the sisters of Isis, Switzerland, 1291. Then you had Germany. Then you had France, the Templar purge in 307. Britain, the infiltration 1314, the Glorious Revolution, 1688, Bank of England, 1694, the Protestant Reformation, 1517 to 1648, the Jesuits, going into the Jesuits, 1534, the Jesuits' suppression, 1773, Jesuit, and then, but in between, because I'm giving you, they're all not in the same line frame. So Salaki, you got Freemasons, 1717, the Bavarian Illuminati, 1776, Rothschilds, the Templar proxy army in 1776, the U.S., right? But you got to know their families stem all the way back. So I want to get a side precept if I can. I'm going to read. Yeah, I'm going to get a side precept. Let me get that side precept first, right? Because when you go, because you got to know these Edomites, they studied all their history. If the Lord is helping the children of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, the elect, the real men, grow into this faith and actually know the truth, you have to know the left-hand side that works for Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Ephesians 6 and 12, we don't wrestle with flesh and blood. We're wrestling against principalities in high places, and those principalities is working with people in high positions, right? So that's the left-hand side. So the left-hand side is giving them information of themselves too, right? And they're doing the same movement that they did back then. So when we go into like Alexander the Great, when he died, I'm gonna just read this right here. This is First Maccabees chapter 1. And I'm going to start at verse 7. It says, so Alexander reigned 12 years and then died, and his servants bare rule, every one in his place. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons. After them, many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth. Right? So his servants, which was his four generals, and then after his death, those four generals, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years. So they just kept giving it down to descendant to descendant, and evils was multiplied in the earth. So you got to know these high elites, them having general wealth, which is power and having land, because it's really, they're controlling the money side, right? And they can buy anybody out. They can say no to this and this and that. And you could see, what's his name, Nathaniel Rothschild, he says is the ones that control the money controls these governments. It's all these little small presidents and fake rulers, they're all puppets that he said. They put them there as pawns. They're front men, but they're the ones that's really controlling. And all the ones that's of old, if they're still not living, they gave it to their descendants just like them. After his death, Alexander the Great's death, they all put crowns upon themselves, the four generals. So did their sons after them many years. So after the generals died, their sons and their sons after, and guess what? They was having war with each other. And guess what? Edomites got Russia. Those is Edomites, man. Even though that's supposed to be Japhet, but Esau conquered to and fro. It's a whole confusion where all the nations is at, but they're here on the earth. And Esau is against Esau. The same time in the time of the Greeks, even in Rome. Rome was going against Greeks too. They had Antiochus telling him, hey, you better not cross this line, because he was getting greedy. He wanted Greek, and he wanted to rule Egypt and Israel. So I just had to show that. Back to Revelation chapter 13, reading verse 13, it says, he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. Now back then they probably had those fireballs. No, this is going into the new one that was the reflection of the one in the water. So how is he making fire come down from heaven? By missiles. Didn't America drop a missile on uh, I can't really say the word right, but in history you would know, right? It start with an H. Hamar. I don't want to get it messed up, right? But they dropped a bomb, you know. So that's showing a miracle or a wonder, if we could say. But verse 14, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, right? And that's those missiles, the miracles of his satellite devices, right? His space station, right? Because now I think you can go on the internet and search space station, space military, and space tourists, because I think they're doing space tourists, like where they take people up, they pay a lot of money to tour above the earth and all of that at a high level, you know. But you have to do research on it, right? And it says, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the womb by a sword and did live, right? And this new image is going to be that new world order. People is always using the Jesus, but that was already established. It's not going to get established again because niggas is still lost by it, right? It's going to be a new world image. It's going to be this new Rome Catholic image, right? And we already seen if the banking, the religion, and the military, they're all in cahoot with each other. So it's gonna be, the image is gonna be the under the Edomites, right? And they're gonna enforce this digital currency. And they was already establishing it from the beginning of this side because they want world domination. They really want to control. But the Lord put that on them. And things just don't happen fast. That's how we know the Lord never early, never late. He's always on time. That's why he didn't have them rush to do all of this. America just didn't have a whole bunch of technology. They had to establish one thing, then another thing, then another thing, then another thing, then another thing. Right? Going back to the Lord is playing chess. Revelations 3 and 9, because we're getting to a lot of the deception, right? It says, behold, I will make them the synagogue of Satan, the chief house of Satan. And in the flesh, they are in that chief seat. For the left-hand side, it says, would say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee. Right? In a minute, all of this, what we see in this picture, eventually is going to be fulfilled. And when this role switch and we put in that position, we get beamed up, come down, they're going to look, they're going to be looking at us as master. What that dude say on Bruce Leroy, call me master. Who am I? Mr. Shonuff. You know? In that day, we're going to be master under Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. You know? Now let's go to First Maccabees. Right? You see how these is puzzles. The Lord just didn't have them in plain sight, because a real student of Yahweh Shema Shai is going to be skillful. Right? Let me get that verse. They're going to be skillful in this joint. And it might look like, oh, this brother going here and there. No, this is called skillful. Yeah, my phone acting mad funny now. Come on, baby. Why is it doing this, Salaki family? Okay, since you want to act like that, I got another app. This is Psalms 33 and verse 3. It says, sing unto him a new song, play skillfully with a loud noise. Right? We supposed to be skillfully in these scriptures. Right? That's what we supposed to be. Skillfully in these scriptures. So now I'm going to go back. This is 1 Maccabees 3 and 48. It says, I'm going to start at 47. I'll start at 46. It says, "Wherefore the Israelites assembled themselves together and came to Maspha over against Jerusalem, for in Maspha was the place where they prayed aforetime in Israel. Then they fast that day and put on sackcloth and cast ashes upon their heads and rent their clothes." So now I'm just showing you these is Israelites. They're fasting, they're putting ashes because it said is this Israelites. These is not heathens, these are Israelites. Right? Verse 48, "And laid open the book of the law." So they opened up the book of the law, wherein the heathen has sought to paint the likeness of their image. So now the Lord blesses with a double whammy, showing you in this verse that the children of Israel, they fasted that day, they put sackcloth on, put ashes on their head, they rent their clothes, and then they opened up the book of the law. So they was basically reading. And then it tells you wherein the heathen has sought to paint the likeness of their images. So that means the heathen went into this law and they recognized that these Israelites was black, because people might not know history that multiple nations was doing painting, right? You know, the real Israelites that was serving the Lord, we knew not to make a molten image to worship. Like you had brothers making pictures of certain prophets back then. It was probably a talent. Oh man, this was Moses, or this and that, because it's just a memory. When you take a picture of your family, it's for a memory's sake. And that's another thing, that's what's fire about you, especially what we see now. You have a collage of pictures on your wall or on a computer or a slideshow, right? And then you just seeing those pictures, they give you memory, you know. Or you go on your phone and you look in your images and you see all the pictures you took for years or weeks or time and time ago, right? So you got to know, we had that same feeling back then, but it was paintings. You know, what they call caloblast, when they did false images. Let me see. Salaki family, I said that, and I want to make sure I get it for you guys. Okay. Let me see. Yeah, I was looking for the specific picture that got it. My phone is acting it's acting mad funny right now. But it's okay. We ain't gonna let nothing stop the motion. But I'll just read this. You can always go on Google and look it up. Look up false images of Yahushua, or better yet, look up false images of Jesus, and it will pop up. But then it's a word, kinoblast. I forgot how you said. I had it right there in my head, but I lost it. So better yet, since we got this unicorn, go look it up. But since my other phone is acting mad shiesty, somebody can put what it's called in the comment section. But this image I came across, it says, Caesar Borgia was the son of Pope Alexander VI. Caesar was the Duke of Valentinus. When he died, his image was forced upon Catholic churches as the false image of Hamashiach. See? So that image was forced. Let me see if my phone is being nice to me right now and letting me see it. Nope. Let me see if this one is it. Nope. Hold on. Okay, I think I got it. See, with a little patience, I think we got it. But now my phone, wait, is it getting blurry? Is it blurry? Okay, so I got it. It's called iconoclast. Iconoclast is a person who destroys religious images or oppose their inner veneration, going into whitewash, right? A white liquid that is a mixture of lime and powdered chalk and water used for making walls or ceilings or make ceilings white. Caesar Borgia, the development of the false image of Hamashiach under the power of the Catholic Church in Rome, Pope Alexander VI decided that he would have his son Caesar Borgia used as the model for Yahushai in paintings that Da Vinci was commissioned to do. These paintings emerged between 1502 to 1503, right? And then that ushered in that word, the letter J. So before this whole time, his name was Yahushua, and that's even fire. The Lord didn't even allow these heathens to have, the name of our Savior. You see that? It's amazing, man. That's why nobody can really mess with Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. So again, 1 Maccabees 3:48, and laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images, right? I'm going to go to another precept so we can just line them up. Wisdom of Solomon, giving it to you. Wisdom of Solomon, the 14th chapter, in verse 15. A father afflicted with untimely mourning, and when he had made an image of his child soon taken away, now honored him as a god, which was then a dead man, and delivered to those that were under him ceremonies and sacrifices. So that's a beautiful thing that I went to go get that picture, and right there, it just enhyped it even more. Pope Alexander VI, he was sad, man, that his son died. His son had a sexual relation with Leonardo da Vinci, and it was a contest between Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo. Leonardo da Vinci won. Even back then, if you watch the show Caesar Borgia, or the Borgia family, Leonardo da Vinci was very expensive. They had to pay money just for him to paint a picture. You could see it in the show, but even back then, you could see it in history too. But let's get to verse 17. You could read verse 16 too, but I want to stay right here, right? It says, let me read 16. It says, thus in process of time, an ungodly custom grown strong was kept as a law. Graven images were worshipped by the commandments of kings, right? And guess what? A lot of this image forced that damn Christmas thing, because who they try to represent? They try to represent Jesus and Santa Claus on that day, In Rome, you got to think, when they was pushing these things, especially when the image of Rome rebuilt it, they started pushing these pagan ways and add them into Christianity, right? Verse 17 is how we know that they are not the people, because Yahushai don't deal with paganism. Verse 17, whom men could not honor in present, right? Because Caesar Borgia was dead. Because they dwelt far off, they took the counterfeit of his visage from far and made an express image of a king, whom they honored to the end that by this their forwardness they might flatter him that was absent, as if he were present. So and the father thought that this was going to flatter his son either in the afterlife, and they really thought they was doing something, but they really used it to deceive, right? Because they don't really know about the spirit world. Because Caesar Borgia, as soon as he died, he went right back to the Heavenly Father, Abba Yahweh. right? When you go to Wisdom of Solomon 15:4, it says, "For neither did the mischievous invention of men deceive us, nor an image spotted with diverse colors. The painter's fruitless labor, the sight thereof, entice fools to lust after it, and so they desire the form of a dead image that have no breath." Right? And Caesar Borgia has no breath. He's gone bye-bye. So you heard First Maccabees 3:18. Let me get it one more time. First Maccabees, not 3:18, 3:48. "And laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen has sought to paint the likeness of their images." Plain and simple right there. Because why they hide it if we see in scriptures that Yahushua is a dark man? Why would they change his image? And if you know, why the brothers that try to make a black Yahushua, why is always a low budget movie? It's somebody that is a good actor. He was in this movie. It's called The Blood of the Cross. I forgot what role he played. He's actually in a 5-star movies. He's in 5-star movies. And The Blood of the Cross was a low-level movie, but Passion of Christ and so on and so on, it's getting this star, getting that. Come on, man. This is Mark chapter 13, verse 6. It says, "For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Hamashiach, and shall deceive many." So they use that name Christ, which really goes into anointed or Messiah, and it's many that was saying that, but it goes into whitewashing, right? So let's go into 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, right? Which is a setup, that we use for these scriptures. 2 Thessalonians 2, verse 3 and 4. "Let no man deceive you by any means." See, now that we read these scriptures, now we can't be deceived no more, because now we're getting this knowledge, and you can go read it for yourself. And if you know history, you can go look them up on a Wikipedia and get more information about these other individuals. "For that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and the Son of Man not the Son of Man, the man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition." The perdition is that condemnation. The man of sin is Esau, and he's getting revealed through these lessons. But even more, he's going to get revealed in the world. Like, the whole world is going to know that this is really Esau. So he's getting revealed through the spirit, and through the physical, he's going to get revealed. Eventually, Jake is going to come to their senses, right? Verse 4 was the point. "Who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God," right? Because we worship the Heavenly Father through his Son, right? To worship is to obey, to bow down. When you pray to the Heavenly Father, you're praying through his Son. The prayer got to go through Yahushua, right? To get to the Father, man. Your prayers is going through the plug to get to the socket. If it's not going through the plug, your prayers ain't being heard. Even though the Lord can hear you, but the Lord is dealing with the ones that's dealing with him as a whole. Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai. And the Rakak Wadash, because that Rakak Wadash had to be dealing with you, because that's the thing that's going to teach you, right? And the Rakak Wadash is working through his men. I know the Rakak Wadash is in me. I'm not fully in that power where I can say, I heal your name, Yahweh, but I believe that eventually is going to really work, because I'm going to get more into my faith. I'm going to get more into the taste of this flesh, and the more of the dislike of this place. The more we're in tune with Yahweh Hashem Al Shai, you're going to be able to do things that's beyond measure, right? What is it? Philippians 4:13, right? Because it's a Mashiach who strengthened us. That's why we could do. That's why we could do what we could do, So let's get another one. So he sits in these churches. Look, they got a so-called European man on the cross. He's in the face. His face is in the churches, right? And he's making himself like he is the power, man. But he not. That's the new nigga, man. This is Nahum 3:1. Woe to the bloody city. It is all full of lies and robbery. The prey departeth not. Right? I think you can go look up the history of the statue in Brazil. They was forcing people to believe and worship that damn statue. And it was Caesar Borgia, man. They was forcing that. The Borgia came around, they was around way before, like around 1400, right? And he ended up dying around the 1500s, right? And we was already getting established, eventually coming this way. The Northern Kingdom was already over here, right? They was establishing that Christianity, and even in slavery, they was enforcing that slave book, man, because they wanted to maintain the slaves so that they don't bump up against them. And guess what? That's just a newer thought than what Pharaoh. Oh man, they gonna multiply, man. If they grow to, man, they gonna probably join these other nations. Esau didn't think that. Man, we about to trap them up because this place is full of lies. You can go to Habakkuk 3:13 too, right? But let's go to Jeremiah 51 verse 7. It says, Babylon have been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore the nations are mad. So for this image that we see, this beautiful image, when this fully happened, is because the nations are mad, right? The Lord is gonna put that push the button in these other nations, starting with Russia. We go to Ezekiel 38 verse 10. The Lord is gonna have that left hand angel persuade him, like we seen in 1 Kings 22. Right? That's amazing. You know, go read 1 Kings chapter 22, the whole chapter. But it really starts when you see Micaiah say, I'm going to teach what the Lord tell me to teach in verse 14, and read down. And you had an angel that said, oh, I'll persuade him. The Lord is going to use an angel, and guess what? He's going to press that button. So Ezekiel 38:10, thus saith the Lord, Yahweh Shema Shai power, it shall also come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought. Right? Is because Russia is going to be persuaded. Right? This is talking about God. God. Right? This is talking about Russia. Right? Modern day Russia, because really it's supposed to be a Japhite. But Esau went to and fro conquering lands. We gotta really know history. Gotta really get into these scriptures to understand that, you know. But this video is not really going into that. Right? But let's go to 2 Corinthians, the 6th chapter, verse 17. And it reads, therefore come out from among them, be ye separate, says the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushai, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you. That unclean thing is that damn philosophy, that damn Jesus, everything else they push in here, because it's not only Jesus, they pushing everything. They double force that Jesus thing. But you don't want to teach, I mean, you don't want to touch that profanity that they push on us. That's why we have to be separate on this side. We have to depart from them spiritually and mentally so that we can physically get that separation. You know? People teaching, oh, leave America. Guess what? You leave America, you're still in their hands, you damn incapable. And the Lord, and if you're not that number, the Lord can still send a judgment to you that way. You know? The Lord is really telling us to come out of her spiritually and mentally. Right? Because you got to be patient for the arrival of the Lord and still be standfast and immovable on this side. You know? And that's real faith for you, for especially a brother, to not get up and be like, hey, let me go over here. Right? But that would really be the Lord that would move a brother. And guess what? That's your strong delusion. Think you have a safe haven, and a brother could get his whole family killed. You know? You never know. Especially if you teaching that. This is Revelations 18:4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues, right? And that plague is that judgment, right? That judgment is this the total destruction. This whole thing is going to get destroyed. Every person on this drink is not going to make it out. And if the ones that's really connected to the higher up elites, they're gonna make it out. It's gonna, just like how these these higher CEOs and music businesses, because of this Diddy bull crap, and some of them in the banking, that have been taking their money out because they know something big is about to happen. Some of them is gonna get that notion, and they're gonna separate their Zuckerberg. If you really got that bunker in Hawaii, the Lord set you up for the okie doke. Because the whole United States is going to be destroyed. Hawaii is part of the United States. It's going to get destroyed. Rick Ross, if they not making it on the other skirts of the earth, they're going to be destroyed. But you never know. The Lord still can have you niggas destroyed in your bunker, right? Because literally the 2/3 is going to be destroyed in America. So you got to really think on that. Who's to say Usher or Drake, if they not getting right? Even if they do go in a bunker, you got to know it's different parts of the world, especially Israel and America. They're going to be totally destroyed. Israel going to get rebuilt, but there's going to be other parts that's going to get hit, have bruises and all of that. So you never know. Some of you, Jake, you celebrities that might try to escape your judgment, you might get destroyed on your way there. You know, 2/3 is going to get that bill, man. So sliding over to Revelations 11:4. It says, these are the 2 olive trees. Salaki. Wrong. I meant 14. Woo, got a little excited. This is Revelations 11, verse 14. Salaki, family. Again, Salaki. What should I do? Should I read it? Okay, this is Revelation 11:14. It says, the second woe is past. And behold, the third woe cometh quickly. And that's the name of this lesson. The third woe cometh quickly, right? And when you go, I think the chapter before, the 10th chapter, you see 2 woes is going to come. And those 2 woes is World War I and World War II, right? And in the history of the establishment of America, it went through World War I and World War II. America hasn't been touched. World War III is America being touched. Right? And Esau is going to fall. So now I'm going to be closing out. We'll read 2 more. This is 1 Samuel chapter 9, verse 9. It says, before in time in Israel, when a man went to inquire of God, get a message from God, thus he spake, come and let us go to the seer, a visionary. A visionary is somebody that tell the future. For he that is now called a prophet was before time called a seer. Right? And so prophets prophesy of things that's coming in the future. They're predicting the future. And it all comes by Yahweh Shem Yahushai. For 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 19 to 21. This is not of us. It's all Yahweh Shem Yahushai. So in order for us to really master these words, you got to come to a man of the Lord. Right? A man that's really practicing and studying these things. And I believe I'm a man of the Lord. Right? I'm not that top guy. Don't want to be. I just want to be somebody that's better than the old me, and I want to be somebody that the Lord is using continually. Even more, I can know that I am a man of the Lord, and I'm still working to be even better, and a prophet, and still trying to work to be even a better prophet, and a better student, and a better teacher, and a better prisoner, because the men that I'm watching have been guiding me. The brothers that I'm laboring with been guiding me, sharpening me up, you know? Because you got brothers around you that they don't want to be the only one teaching this. They don't want to be the only one with the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. They don't want to be the only one being sharp, right? And that's why you start talking to you men, you're getting in this thing to be more sharp, especially as a husband, as a father, right? We're caretakers of the elect, you know? And the elect must know these prophecies, and if we don't have the ability, the Lord didn't give it to us. And we see, I believe it's in 1 Corinthians 12, I believe. It could be in the second Corinthians, but you understand that it's different gifts when it comes to this ministry. I'm just taking a quick look. Yes, spiritual gifts is in 1 Corinthians chapter 12. I think from verse 1 to 12, I believe, to verse 12. Yeah, 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 1 to 12. So I'm going to close out with this verse right here. This is Psalms chapter 110. Verse 5 and 6. It says, the Lord at thy right hand shall strike through kings in the day of his wrath. He shall judge among the heathen. He shall fill the places with the dead bodies. He shall wound the heads over many countries. Right? And that's Hamashiach Yahushai, who is coming with the power of his father, Abba Yahweh. You know? Yahushai is, he's going to judge among the heathen. Right? He's going to bring forth the wrath of his father upon the heathen and you 2/3 niggas. And he's going to fill the place with their dead bodies, and he shall wound the heads over many countries. And the heads is those powers. That's in the hand of Esau. In the nation of Esau, and you other nations that's in the circle with them, like you got China and Korea, y'all in cahoots too. They're gonna be destroyed, right? So again, like my brother Yamayan said, Yahweh Shema Shai is undefeated. Go to Wisdom of Solomon chapter 15, verse 8. The word is gonna leap off his royal throne to a place fit for destruction. And that's Babylon and Israel, but Israel is gonna be rebuilt. So Lord willing, you was edifying. And this is towards the hopeful elect in judgment to the 2/3 to know your judgment is a nuke, regardless if you accept it or not. You know? So Lord willing. So all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim Rakakwadash, and there were honors to the elders who rule well, great millstone. Lord willing, they can continue to endure and be sincere, teach his word and believe in his word. And a mighty shalom to the hopeful elect in the same spirit. Lord willing, you can endure and be sincere, teach his word and believe in his word. Shalom to the Akwatiyam that are believers of the faith. Lord willing, you can continue to pursue in your lot. And Lord willing, the Most High have mercy on other brothers and sisters that is not in the faith. Shalom. Shalom.